in a city that never sleeps, there was a young man who looked like he had everything figured out. A good phone, money in his pocket, friends around him, and a life that, from the outside, looked complete. But inside, it was a completely different story, because every night, when everything became quiet, his thoughts became louder than the world itself. He would lie in bed scrolling endlessly, one video after another, one distraction after another, trying to feel something, anything. But the more he filled his time, the emptier he felt inside. It was as if something in his heart was missing, but he didn't know what. He tried to ignore it. He told himself he was just tired, that life was normal, that everyone feels like this sometimes, but deep down, he knew it wasn't normal. Something was wrong. One night, he couldn't sleep at all. He stood up, grabbed his jacket, and walked outside into the cold streets. No destination, no plan, just walking. The city lights were still shining, cars were still moving, people were still laughing somewhere in the distance. But he felt completely disconnected from everything, like he was there, but not really there. He stopped under a quiet streetlight and looked up at the sky. It was clear, dark, endless, and for the first time in a long time, he spoke out loud, even though nobody was around. Ya Allah, if you are there, why do I feel so lost inside? He waited. Nothing changed. No sign, no voice, no sudden miracle, just silence. But something strange happened instead. For the first time in years, he didn't run away from his feelings. He stood still, and slowly, his eyes filled with tears. At first he tried to stop them. He felt weak, embarrassed, confused, but then he stopped fighting it, and he cried. Not a dramatic cry, but a quiet, broken kind of cry. The kind that comes when a person has been carrying too much for too long, and in that moment, something inside him softened, not fixed, not healed completely, but softened. And sometimes, that is where everything begins. Days passed after that night. He didn't suddenly become a different person. He still woke up with the same problems, still had the same habits, still felt the same emptiness sometimes. But something had changed. He started noticing things he ignored before, how tired he felt after wasting hours online, how fake some relationships felt, how loud the world was, and how silent his heart had become. He began to distance himself slowly, not from life, but from the noise, less scrolling, less distraction, more quiet moments, more time alone with his thoughts, which at first felt uncomfortable, because when everything gets quiet, you start hearing yourself again, and that scared him. One afternoon, as he was walking home, he heard something unusual, a sound that blended into the air, but stood out in his heart. The adhan, the call to prayer. It was coming from a nearby mosque. Normally, he would have walked past it without thinking, but this time, his feet slowed down. He stopped. He didn't understand why, but something inside him felt pulled toward it, like a door inside him was opening. Slightly, he followed the sound, step by step, until he reached the mosque. He stood outside for a moment, watching people enter calmly, peacefully, as if they were going somewhere they belonged. He hesitated. He wasn't the perfect person. He wasn't religious. He didn't feel ready. But then he thought, if I wait until I feel ready, maybe I'll never come. So he walked in. The inside was quiet in a way the outside world never was. No noise, no pressure, no judgment, just stillness. People standing in rows, praying, completely focused, not on the world, but on something beyond it. He didn't know where to stand, so he stayed in the back, just watching. And for the first time in a long time, he felt something unfamiliar. Not excitement, not happiness, peace. A kind of peace that didn't come from anything material. After the prayer, an older